In the news today is that Edward Snowden has announced that he was a spy. He wasn't just a low-level analyst, as he had portrayed himself to be, but he was a spy for the CIA and various other government organizations of the United States. Some weeks ago, or months ago, I said, in my opinion, the only way he could get that information was by being a spy at a high level and probably being a double agent, because the Russians have kept many spies in various parts of our democracy. We know that. We know that when Truman told Stalin that we had an atom bomb, Stalin said, "Oh, that's not news, I already know it." And that was the closely guarded Manhattan Project. So Snowden, as I said on many occasions, is not only a traitor, he's a spy. And he's just said proudly, I, Edward Snowden, have been a spy at various high levels, and therefore I'm not just a low-level analyst, so you should take everything I say very seriously. Inasmuch as he's probably been responsible for several, if not dozens, of deaths of people he exposed, and that he has caused the greatest trouble, speaking of all things, from his safe haven in Putin's Moscow. What in hell is Snowden doing lecturing Americans on democracy from a home or a place that Putin gave him in one of the world's greatest dictatorship, one of the world's most brutal dictatorship? Putin and the Russian Federation is a dictatorship. People have no rights. People are constantly imprisoned, tortured. We don't know what they do. And here is this man at the lapdog of Putin doing what Putin tells him to do, making announcements to the world, and you may be sure there's nothing that Snowden announces that hasn't been either written or carefully looked at by Putin's people to make sure he says the right thing. And yet our media, who seem to be blindsided by everything, our business media, take what he says seriously. I have not heard it. I think somewhere or sometime some press person said he might be a traitor or he might be a spy. Now he announces proudly, I was a spy at various levels. And now I am in Moscow and I want to lecture you on democracy. Isn't that weird? So and Democracy Now! Thinks he's marvelous. Anything that attacks the United States is loved by Democracy Now! She keeps bringing on the newspaper man for The Guardian that interviewed him. He's one of the great heroes of all time. Nothing is mentioned. What is he going to say now? Well, Snowden was a spy for the CIA, and that just gives him more credibility. The fact that he's obviously been a double agent, that he's a liar, that he's a traitor, and that he should be hung or executed, none of that comes out. And how much danger has he done? If somebody does things of this nature that are harming to our democracy, you might be concerned about it. Another aspect of what's destroying our democracy is the fact that everyone who I've seen, everyone I talk to, has not been able to answer my question. What is the religious composition of the Supreme Court? What are they? People say, well, they must be Protestants or Christians. I say, you got it all wrong. 5 of the justices, the right-wing group that make all the decisions that are destroying our democracy, empowering corporations to spend unlimited funds, recently empowering individuals to spend unlimited funds to buy elections, those 5 are Catholic. The 6th Catholic justice is a Hispanic. She is liberal. And I say salute to her and to Hispanics all over. The other 3, believe it or not, are Jewish. There are no Muslims, no Christians of any other faith, no Buddhists, no anything. Only 6 Catholics and 3 Jews. And 5 of the Catholics are running our country. They are making laws that will enable the rich to turn the country into what they're doing, an oligarchy. The Koch brothers, who have $80 to $100 billion and are now free to spend it on every candidate, have said they want to get rid of Medicare, they want to get rid of Social Security, and they want to get rid of affordable health care. And why do they want to do that? Because it means more money for the rich. The country is now being run by the ultra-rich and by the corporations. And it's going to get much worse. We have an election coming up. If you have unlimited funds, you're going to have to get them. You can't run for the Senate. You can't run for the House of Representatives. You can't run for anything without a lot of money. Right now, to become a senator costs more than it took to do an entire election 20 or 30 years ago. Everybody. And where do you get the money? You get the money from the very rich, from the right wing, from those who the 5 Catholic justices have empowered to spend unlimited funds to buy the House of Representatives, which they already got, the Senate, which they're going to get, and the presidency, which they are desperate to get. The only hope we have is that there will be a reaction, that the public will be so sick of these endless ads paid for by the rich that they may do something about it, a populist movement, a vote against the rich. Otherwise, realize that this country is run by Catholics, by 5 Catholics. 5 Catholics are determining the fate of this democracy. And if you say, well, of course, they're good, nice people, who knows? Their decisions indicate they only care about the rich and the right wing. And beyond that, the only way to do anything about it outside of a populist movement is to impeach them. And the only way you can impeach the Supreme Court, according to the Constitution, any members of it, is if they have done things that are not proper for their office. You cannot impeach them for making laws or breaking laws or making judgments that you don't like or that you feel are not right. But you can impeach them for having associations that would be improper in their position, conflicts of interest, and I'm sure they have them. So I say, please, everybody, somebody, start a movement to impeach the Supreme Court, the 5 justices that are right-wing, constantly destroying our democracy. I tell this to Amy Goodman. I tell this to the business media. Do something about it. Don't just spend all your time doing popular media so that people will listen to stories that have nothing to do with the reality, and the Goodman Show that only criticizes the United States and is anti-Semitic as well. The Pope, by the way, did something marvelous. Now that I've been criticizing the Catholic Church or some of its members, he went to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial. That's after spending some time at the wall the Israelis were building. His people must have said, my God, you prayed at the wall that they're building. They're going to say you were comparing it to the Berlin Wall and that you were doing something that was against the Holocaust. So the Pope immediately, the next day, went to the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial and kissed the hands of 7 Holocaust survivors and said this kind of thing was unthinkable, that human beings could be exterminated in this way, and made quite a good speech and recouped what I thought was an extraordinary mistake he made when he went there. Oh, the Pope is infallible? You believe that? The moon is green cheese. People do what they think is necessary for their positions of power. Always remember that. And with that, I'm going to conclude saying it's a great day. The sun is shining. Everything is going well in the world because it can't get any worse. You have to laugh at yourself. Laugh at yourself and the gods will love you. If you laugh at others, that's hubris. If you laugh at the gods, it's arrogance. And those whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad. Watch every dictator. They're all destroyed by madness. And Putin's on the road, as well as others. So that I say, laugh, belly laugh. It's good for your brain. You won't get Alzheimer. You'll grow new neurons. Laughter is the only thing to do in this world. Robert Fulghum, who wrote Everything I Learned in Kindergarten, said, the universe is a colossal joke, but not everybody gets it. And my opinion is that God made this place, this theater of the Grand Guignol of the destruction of human beings by other human beings, watched it for a while, got bored, and went off to make some other galaxies. So laugh, everybody, and have a good time. Sayonara, have a great week. Thank you. I will add this line from the Rubaiyat of Omer Khayyam in the great translation by Fitzgerald. Ah, take the cup, and in the fire of spring your winter garment of repentance fling. The bird of time has but a little way to flutter, and the bird is on the wing. A favorite of mine from the Rubaiyat, and I recommend the Rubaiyat to anyone who hasn't read it highly. Have a great week, everybody. Laugh uproariously at yourself and the world, and you will live long and strong.